This is Dandelion Holistic Nutrition and Meal Design. Why soak flour? It seems so unnecessary and extra, but is it? In this modern age, is there any reason why we should soak or ferment or sprout grains and cereals? It seems like something that just doesn't fit in with our fast-paced lives. The truth is, there actually is a reason for it. On page 21 of Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon with Mary G. Enig, it reads, quote, "Refined carbohydrates are fairly new to our diets. Refined carbohydrates lack important bodybuilding elements and pulls on the body's own store of vitamins, enzymes, and minerals to correctly metabolize it. During the refining process, many B vitamins found in the grains are lost. Because these vitamins are needed to break down carbohydrates, it is a burden to the system." Unquote. So when the body is constantly pulling from its own reserves without being properly replenished, problems can arise like bone loss and mineral deficiencies. If this is continued, then what will happen to our bodies over time, and how will this impact future generations? Let's consider how whole grains are elevated and looked upon as amazing health foods. People have been recommending them for years. How about oats, like oatmeal, oats in smoothies, granola, and granola bars? Oats are quick, they're full of fiber, they're also really easy to incorporate into the diet. But did you know that before World War II, on the oatmeal package, it said to soak them overnight prior to cooking? The thing is, when we look back in history, we find that traditional cultures all over the world were soaking and fermenting grains, legumes, and so on prior to consuming them. Why? Well, the outer layer of grains contain phytic acid. Phytic acid can block the absorption of minerals like copper, magnesium, and zinc. When you soak grains in an acidic medium like kefir, yogurt, whey, lemon juice, like water with lemon juice or water and vinegar, then enzymes and other helpful organisms break down and neutralize phytic acid and improve the nutritional value of the grain. When wheat flour is soaked prior to using, hard-to-digest proteins like gluten are partially broken down and become more readily available for consumption. This makes it easier to digest and is less of a strain on the system. Now, I want to share an abstract with you from a review. It's called Health Promoting Components in Fermented Foods, an up-to-date systematic review. And it reads, "Fermented foods have long been produced according to knowledge passed down from generation to generation and with no understanding of the potential role of microorganisms involved in the process. However, the scientific and technological revolution in Western countries made fermentation turn from a household to a controlled process suitable for industrial-scale production systems, intended for the mass marketplace. Formation of antioxidant, bioactive, antihypertensive, anti-diabetic, and FODMAP-reducing components in fermented foods are mainly presented and discussed. Fermentation was found to increase antioxidant activity of milks, cereals, fruits and vegetables, meat, and fish. Antihypertensive peptides are detected in fermented milk and cereals. Changes in vitamin content are mainly observed in fermented milk and fruits. Fermented milk and fruit juice were found to have probiotic activity. Other effects such as anti-diabetic properties, FODMAP reduction, and changes in fatty acid profile are peculiar of specific food categories." I want to share a portion of another study called Fermented Foods, Definitions and Characteristics, Impacts on the Gut Microbiota, and effects on gastrointestinal health and disease. I'm pulling this from the second page, the bottom of the second to the last paragraph. Fermentation can reduce toxins and anti-nutrients. For example, fermentation of soybeans may reduce phytic acid concentrations, and sourdough fermentation can reduce the content of fermentable carbohydrates, fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols, FODMAPs, which may increase the tolerance of these products in patients with functional bowel disorders such as irritable bowel syndrome. Now we know that soaking or fermenting flour and other grains reduce phytic acid, aid in mineral absorption, and helps to break down proteins like gluten, making it easier to digest. All of this renders the food more nutritious, satisfying, and energizing. Above that, if you are gluten intolerant or suffer from irritable bowel syndrome or other digestive distress and have to avoid wheat grains or other foods, then in time you may be able to enjoy it again if properly prepared. And my friend, that is why I soak or ferment my flour. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.